My name's Angelo, and welcome to We Want Picks. This is the only channel dedicated to UFC fight picks and DraftKings lineups run by MMA insiders and professional fighters. Every week, I join Dan Kramer and Nick Newell, two longtime professional fighters that have fought at the highest levels on the planet, as well as Jacob Lyons, a skinny kid from Indiana. So join us every single week for our full fight card breakdowns, our individual fight card breakdowns, our betting guide, and our DraftKings lineups. Next up at UFC Vegas 34, we have the main event of the evening. We have Jared Cannonier versus Kelvin Gastelum. Jared Cannonier is 13-5. He is 3-2 in his last five, coming off of a loss to Robert Whittaker. Kelvin Gastelum is 17-7. He is only 1-4 in his last five. He is also coming off of a loss to Kelvin Gastelum, but he beat Jack Hermanson by, he beat, what the hell? Who was the, that striker that he just absolutely dominated on the ground?
Ian Heinisch.
He beat Ian Heinisch, but he lost to Jack Hermanson. He lost to Darren Till. He lost to Israel Adesanya. So when you hear me say he's 1-4 in his last five, look at his last five. It's not a very
one of those guys is the top fighter in the world, Darren Till.
It's not a very fair. It's not a fair run, honestly. Even Ian Heinisch was a really tough outing that he got to. Luckily, Ian's very one-dimensional, so he was able to blow through him. So anyway, the breakdown here is Jared Cannonier is very powerful with incredible leg kicks. He came down from heavyweight. So he started his career as a heavyweight. He lost a ton of weight. He did it right, changed his life, which is why he is so stupid powerful at this weight class. He can throw kicks from southpaw or orthodox. He is okay at grappling, mostly defensive grappling. So he will defend some takedowns. He wants to keep this fight standing. But if he does end up on top, which I do not think is likely here, if he does end up on top, he is an absolute hammer on top, but he has also never gone 5 rounds. I don't know if that's a factor or not, because I can't really say that he gasses all the time, but he's never done 5 rounds. And Kelvin Gastelum, as we heard Dan say before, is absolutely a 5-round fighter. He is a very good wrestler with power in his hands. He has an incredible chin. He has never been knocked out. When you fight the best people on planet Earth for the last 10 years and you don't have one knockout, that's actually really impressive, especially once you start getting up there in weight classes. But he's also incredibly inconsistent. The dude will show up one day and look like a world champion, or in the Israel Adesanya case, take that world champion to the limit. And then he'll show up another day and just get absolutely smoked. So he is very inconsistent. In this fight, I do think he needs to wrestle to win, and he absolutely can. He's an actual wrestler. He wrestled the majority of his life, and he's very good at it. And I think that's his path here. He's a very good striker, but Jared Cannonier has stupid power, and I don't think he'll be the first person to knock out Kelvin, but you don't necessarily want to find out. And Kelvin Gastelum is my pick. Jakey boy, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I weirdly like Kelvin in this matchup as well. You mentioned his fights, or his losing streak. That Izzy fight was one of the best fights of all time. That was an absolute war. And then against the best fighter in the entire world, Darren Till, that was a split decision. That could have went either way. And then you got that weird heel hook loss, where that was the fight where it was like he almost looked uninterested at times. Then he comes in, grapple heavy, dominates Ian. And then against Whittaker, I thought he looked decent. I thought that it was more about how unbelievable Whittaker looked in that fight more than Gastelum. I don't think it was a fight where Gastelum didn't show up. I think he showed up. I just think Whittaker was the better fighter, and probably is the better fighter. I think Kelvin is more focused now. I think even with that Robert Whittaker loss, I think he knows that he can beat anyone in this division. He can make a real title run again. And I could see him coming in and just shooting and just wearing Jared down and just wearing. There's no knockout threat when he's up against the cage, on his hips. You can defend and defend, but Jared coming down in weight, hasn't fought the 5 rounds, in that 5th round. You're going to get worn down. You're going to get taken down. I think Kelvin makes this ugly. And even if he doesn't, man, Kelvin has real power at middleweight still. You mentioned Jared's power, but Kelvin's got unreal sneaky power from weird shots. So he can land one on the butt and knock you out as well. So I like Kelvin in this fight, just for the experience, for the 5 rounds, and for the grappling abilities to be able to make this fight dirty. So I like Kelvin. He was actually really close to being my lock of the week. So that's how much I'm confident in him in this fight.
Well, thank you that he isn't. But Danny Boy picked, if you're just hopping in now and didn't see the previous videos, Danny Boy picked Kelvin Gastelum, saying that he's a 5-round fighter. We just don't know if Jared Cannonier is not a 5-round fighter. That's the problem. Like, he hasn't done it yet, so that doesn't mean he can't. But, you know, he is a big, heavy striker. If Kelvin wrestles, which lately we have seen him wrestle, he didn't get to do it much against Robert Whittaker, but that's, to your point, a credit to Robert Whittaker. Robert Whittaker absolutely smoked both of these guys, both of them, big time, and basically showed the world that he should be fighting again for that title. So it's hard to look at that fight because he is just at a different level than both of them. But I do think Kelvin, who, by the way, he's 29. He's been doing this for so freaking long, but he's only 29. Hopefully he's still getting better.
He's almost like that. He's almost like Pettis, and the fact that he got up the rankings so fast in his career that now he's losing a bunch, but he loses a bunch to all the good guys. I mean, that's the same. Anthony Pettis did the same thing where he shot up, got the title shot, or the title actually, and then he just started getting beat up by all the top guys. Yeah.
So this should be a really fun fight. I absolutely like Kelvin Gastelum in this fight, but it is close. Jared Cannonier has stupid power, and to me, that's the path, right? Jared Cannonier with the power, or Kelvin Gastelum with the volume if he wants, or the wrestling. So I think Kelvin has more ways to win, but Jared Cannonier is definitely scarier in this fight. So either way, Kelvin's my pick. Kelvin is Jacob's pick. Kelvin is Dan's pick. I hate when we all pick the same because we're either all wrong or all right.
Oh, we're all right.
Monkey Knife Fight's a really hard line, man. 100 strikes is a lot.
5 rounds, I'd go more.
I more and more is the safer play. I do think it goes 5 rounds. Even bet wise, I took a bet on the over on rounds, but I supplemented to 3.5. You can choose rounds. You don't need to do the main line. So I went down to 3.5. And I took that bet at weonpicks.com/bets. I guess you're right. The more for Monkey Knife Fight at weonpicks.com/MKF is probably the play because it should go the distance. If it doesn't, Jared Cannonier is probably the first person to ever knock out Kelvin, or Kelvin pulled off himself a throwback submission. We haven't seen one of those from him in a while. Either way, that is our breakdown of this card. Stay tuned for our DraftKings lineups, our full betting guide, and our Monkey Knife Fight picks. Let us know in the comments what you think about these fights. And we will see you on Saturday, full live stream before the fights, full live stream for the fights. We'll see you for everything on Saturday. See you then.